Well, hey, tubers, tubettes, and my colorful collection of crazy people. I'm back with my friend Mike to talk about some of the stress that he's been having with Social Security and other items. And I thought it would be interesting for you guys to hear this in the event you find yourself coming over here and you're planning to do what he has done. And to be honest with you, it hasn't worked out all that great. And we're holding the microphones because we're at Forest Camp and there's a raging river next to us, which is really nice for us to listen to, but I want to make sure the volume comes through okay. So I did a video, I want to say a month ago with you.
About a month.
Okay, and he had applied for his Social Security online. And why don't you pick up where we left off on the last video?
Okay.
And then we'll just kind of bring everybody up to date as to what's gone wrong since then.
So to cut the story short, I applied for the Social Security in August online, and nothing happened by December. So I contacted Social Security in America, who said, well, because you filed in the Philippines, you have to deal with Manila because they're your representative. So I contacted Manila. They contacted me and gave me an interview and said, okay, we don't need anything else from you. We're just going to have America reopen the claim, and then you'll be hearing from them. So about, I'd say, a week and a half, maybe almost 2 weeks went by, didn't hear anything. So I contacted Manila again, who responded with, well, they have up to 60 days to respond to you. So I contacted America again, and the person that I got there said, oh, well, now you're considered international Social Security, and you have to deal with another agency in Maryland. I'm going to give you the number to call over there. So it's a 410 or 401 area code. I can't remember which. And I tried calling the number, and it just doesn't go through. So I can't even get in touch with them. So I said, okay, I'll wait the 60 days. And on the 59th day, my nephew received a letter from Social Security that was dated December 17th that said, you are not eligible for retirement benefits.
Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Well, all the letter said was, you're not entitled, with no explanation. And the reason is, the backstory is because they tried to contact me, weren't able to. They wanted documentation, they didn't get it. And since the letter was dated December 17th, I'm wondering if it was an old letter that got sent by mistake.
So since that letter arrived, have you talked to anybody else as to what does ineligible mean? Because you're 62, right?
Yes.
Okay, and when was your birthday?
September.
September, and we're in February.
Right.
So technically, September, you wait a month, October, maybe November, depends on how your birthday falls.
Right.
You'd be getting your check by now.
Right.
And you're not receiving that. In fact, they're telling you you're ineligible.
Right.
Now, that kind of scares me a little bit. I mean,
with no explanation.
Yeah, that's just it. It's like you are of age, you have the necessary quarters filled in.
Right.
As far as, paying into the system, and you're to be receiving benefits. But this whole international thing seems to have opened up a total can of worms. So didn't they tell you something about your file has been put on a different pile or something?
So the story continues.
Here we go.
So I contact America again, calling the regular number because I couldn't get through to the international one. Talked to this guy who said, you have to understand, this is verbatim, the Social Security process is a very complicated thing. And basically what's happened is there's like an assembly line of applications that come through, and if there's no issues, you get your Social Security with no problem.
Okay.
There's a problem, you get pulled off the assembly line and you're pushed off to the side. And basically they get to it when they get to it.
Oh, because they're backed up right now with all the boomers retiring and collecting their, I'm guessing here, they're just overwhelmed with benefit claims. And so you're the one that's kind of the anomaly and is going to take the time and the effort and extra energy. And
I may not
everybody
hear,
wants to take the course of least resistance.
right. I may not hear anything until April, possibly.
What I think that there's two things that happen that, and I'll put the link to the first video that we did so you get more in depth if you're curious about this. But all I know is that his problem started with not receiving a text because the text went to his nephew.
Phone call.
Phone call?
Yeah.
Okay. So one thing that I try not to give advice, but one thing that I did right when I moved over here was I made sure that I had the exact same phone number here in the Philippines as I had in America. I inked up a little bit, like an extra $15, and I kept that number alive and well. I no longer have it now because I've been here almost 6 years. But in the beginning, when I first transferred money, when I was first setting up accounts, if there was a problem, like if I needed a new credit card or a new debit card, everything was copacetic. It didn't look like suspicious or unusual activity. So that would be one little thing that I think would have helped you if you'd have been able to get that phone call.
Right.
Okay. And then number two, I don't want to put words in your mouth. So what would you have done differently?
If knowing what I know now,
knowing what you know now,
I would have filed in the U.S.
And from what I understand, in fact, I Googled this the other day to make sure I was right for once. You can apply for your benefits 4 months prior to qualifying for them. Did you know that?
Right.
Okay. So how many months before you were 62 did you come over here?
So
You've been here 9 months.
well, I've been here 9 months, but I was in Cebu first.
Okay.
And so actually, I'd probably say it's been almost a year.
Almost a year.
And when I applied at the end of August, and I did it online. And of course, they're going to know, if you don't have a VPN, they're going to know where you are.
Yep.
So you cannot tell them, oh no, I'm in the U.S., they'll know.
So do you think it was a mistake to tell them that you were in the Philippines?
I think it was a mistake to file in the Philippines.
Okay. All right. So if you had it to do all over again, would you have just flown back to America when you turned 62 and done the application in person?
Absolutely. I would have went to my local office and I would have applied there and I would have received the benefits, and then I would have just did what I wanted to from that point.
Okay. All right. So I guess, now would you have flown there 4 months ahead of time and done it?
No, probably not. I
No?
probably would
Okay.
have. See, the way it works is if you're born on the 1st or 2nd,
Yeah.
you'll get the benefits your birthday month. If you're
Yes.
born after the 2nd, then you have to wait 1 month.
I did that because I'm born on the 3rd.
Right.
Yeah. So I fell into that category. So let me ask this. If you'd used a VPN and had a real phone number and it still showed that you were in America, and with the VPN and the phone number, you were there to answer it, do you think this would have been eliminated?
Possibly. I think that if Apple didn't have that setting in their phone, everything would have been fine also, because the phone calls would have been received.
Okay.
Now, I'll put some blame on Social Security also, because they have my email address. They never tried to email me. And I also have my online account on their website that they could have put a message out there, which they did neither. So to just say, oh, he didn't respond, let's cancel his claim, try to reach me through email. But they didn't. So
Yeah, well, it's kind of a brutal statement to just say you're ineligible. I mean, you're talking to people that are of advanced age, or
Right.
getting up there, and this might be our only lifeline. Fortunately for Mike, it's not. He has the ability to support himself through all this, which is another smart move, is always have your safety net or security net in place, because worst case scenarios do happen. This is kind of a worst case scenario.
right.
So right now you're kind of in limbo. And what's your end game on this? Are you going to wait until you talk to somebody, the 60 days is up, I mean, would you eventually just fly to America if that was what it took?
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it to the end of this week
Okay.
if I don't hear anything, and then I'm going to contact Manila again.
Okay.
Because I was told again by America, you have to go through Manila. Manila's your representative. It's like your local office.
Do you think it would help if you went to Manila in person and got with a human being?
To be honest, I don't know.
Okay.
Because they have everything they need now. It's just kind of sitting in limbo.
Well, maybe there's somebody out there watching this video and you've been through something like this, or you have the answer to his quandary. We would love it if you'd leave a comment.
Please.
Just to save some time, energy, and aggravation. But he was kind enough, Mike's been kind enough to come on the channel and show you what went wrong with filing online over here in the Philippines. And apparently, Social Security, when you're overseas, they seem to take some kind of exception to that.
Right.
All I know is when I waited until I was 62, I went down on my birthday, filed, and I actually was so paranoid I waited until 2 checks hit my bank, and I continued to work and build up my little safety net of my own before I made the trip out here. But I get it. Mike was, chomping at the bit. He wanted to come out. He came out a year early. Again, he had the funds to accommodate that. He's not going to be homeless tomorrow if he doesn't get his check. I'm also curious if they will give you the money in
Retro?
Retro.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Or one lump sum, probably not. Or they may, if they start you, let's just say next month or the month after, I believe your benefit would have to increase, because they told me every month I waited, my benefit amount would go up by $10 a month or $120 a year. So I'm thinking if you got to wait 5 months and they start you in 5 months, then you're entitled to an extra $50 using my formula. I don't know what your formula is.
Right.
Either that or the retro money. And the retro money would go a lot further than the $50 a month increase. But that's another story.
At this point, I'd just be happy to get the benefits.
Yeah. All right, so my heart goes out to you for that. What else has gone wrong while we're at it?
Well, I can tell you that I've learned a lot about what you purchase online and have shipped over here.
So what happened with you? I know you did a deal with a phone.
So I bought the new Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra from Samsung. I pre-ordered it. And I had it shipped to my nephew's house, and then I had him ship it to me. Well, unfortunately, if you buy anywhere besides Amazon, and I'm not sure 100% sure about this, but they already take out the duty fees and taxes and all that other stuff, so you're already paid for it. But with anybody else, it's going to get stuck in customs. And customs is going to contact you and say, hey, we need all this information from you. And then it has to go through a screening, and we can't even guarantee when you're going to get the item. If you don't give us the requested documentation that we need, we'll consider the item abandoned and we'll confiscate it.
And so where are you at with that?
So I got an email yesterday saying that it's going through the screening process now.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good.
So my suggestion is, if you order online, use the local ones like Shopee and Lazada and Amazon, and I wouldn't do anything else. I wouldn't use the Postal Service.
No.
I would just get from Amazon if you're going to do anything. Don't try Best Buy or anything like that, especially when it comes to electronics or anything over a certain amount of money, because then they start looking.
And they're concerned about
Well,
what?
I think there's a couple of things going on here. I think number one is they're worried about you trying to resell.
Okay.
And the other thing is that their retailers aren't benefiting if you don't buy from them. So
Okay.
I think
And then
that's
there's
why
the
they're
issue
doing
of duty and tax, right?
duty and tax, and then storage fees also. For every day that they keep it, I have to pay so much a day for that.
So you're trying to save a few bucks. Plus you got to send back your other phone, right? You got a credit for that.
Right. Well, the way that's working out now, I'm going to have to cancel that because I don't have my other phone yet, so I can't do my transfer. So I'm going to have to just pay what they gave me off for that phone.
Got it. And just keep the other phone here.
Keep the other one as a backup just in
Yeah,
case, because
have another
I think
phone.
if you're here without a phone, you're really screwed.
Yeah. Amen to that.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, that's the phone story. Maybe you could give that extra phone if you get a girlfriend.
But you got to earn it.
Shall we go into that a little bit?
Sure.
What's been going on? I mean, like you told me, your best time was 30 days at the Hotel Essentia.
When I first moved to Dumaguete, I stayed at this hotel called the Hotel Essentia, right?
Yeah.
Now, it's more money, right, than if you were going to be in an apartment, even with the utilities tacked on. So I was paying about $1,000 for the month. But I had no responsibility. I didn't have to clean the room. I didn't have to do my laundry. I didn't have to cook. I ate out at restaurants all the time. I had the most stress-free month of my entire life.
Okay.
And if I had to do that over again, I wouldn't have rushed out of the hotel. I would have waited until that perfect apartment or house came, and I would have moved then.
So you feel like you rushed that a little bit too.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, that's, again, I'm not the sage of sages here, but I've always preached to slow down and just kind of take your time. I would have done the exact same thing because I did rush in myself when I first got here. And I've thought about it 100 times. Paul, the best thing you could have done as I talked to myself and beat myself up is you could have just hoteled it, until you found the right place. Because I too moved into the wrong place for 6 weeks, and it cost me a lot of more money and grief and aggravation than I really needed to put up with. And then I did find a place that I was actually very happy with.
And when you have nothing and you
Yeah.
have to furnish the entire apartment, that's an ordeal.
Yeah, it
'Cause
is.
in the Philippines, it's not about what you want, it's about what you can get.
What you can get is true.
Yep.
And the choices aren't really like Walker Furniture.
There's only a couple of furniture stores in the whole town of Dumaguete,
Right.
so
Right.
Yep.
And we like our comfortable couches and our lazy boys and that kind of stuff.
Right.
So, all right, so how's your love life?
so my experience so far, I've dated 2 different women,
Okay.
and what I've learned from them is that they use the love word very freely. Where for us, it's like we don't mention the word love until we've been together for a long time and we've established a relationship and planning to do things in the future.
Yeah, it's a whole different dynamic over here.
Right.
I think that the women over here, and I can speak from experience with my girlfriend, well, my wife now, is that they are just true romantics. I mean, I just really believe that. They just love romance. And there's been, I don't know how many women I've encountered, like just before I had a girlfriend or before I met May, and they would say, "Are you single?" And they weren't hitting on me. They were just really curious. "Are you single?" And if I said, "Yeah," they go, "Well, why? Why don't you have a girl? Why aren't you married?
I know-
Why don't you have
I know
this? Why don't you have that?" Yeah, I got a friend. I got a cousin, And because it's just, I just think they're romantics. I really do. And I think that they live in this state of that's bliss, that's happiness, that being together. That's just my spin on it.
And I think that there's no real concept of dating here. I think
Correct.
it's you go out with them once and then boom, you're boyfriend, girlfriend.
Or you're not.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is kind of cut and dry. Okay. So you haven't yet met the one, but you only met a couple of girls.
I've only
ladies?
dated 2,
Okay.
and there have been other opportunities.
And they're nice ladies.
Yeah, they're very nice.
Super nice ladies.
They're so much more agreeable. They're so much more relaxed. They're not. They don't grate on you. In other words,
Right.
They don't challenge you.
Right.
They're usually, "Oh, you want to go there? Sure, let's go there." That kind
Right.
of thing. It's kind of like whatever you want.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how would you compare that to, say, America, where you're from?
Well, I think American women are way more combative. I think they're more challenging, and I think they're more masculine.
And aggressive, eh?
Yes.
Competitive?
Oh yeah, they're always trying to compete with you. The
I
girls
agree.
here don't even attempt that because they like their feminine role.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Yes, they do. So, of all of the challenges that you've had since you've been here for 9 months now, what's been your biggest challenge?
Well, I would think the Social Security
That's
is
the most stressful?
the most stressful.
Yeah.
And then finding the right place.
And
has
finding the
been
right place.
The next
Okay.
one. Yep.
Okay. And so, after you, I got to figure it's just a matter of time until the Social Security thing straightens out. You know,
one way or another.
One way or another, because
yeah.
we were talking with a couple other guys about this topic, which is why I said let's do this video, because there might be other guys watching right now that say, hey, when I get over there, I'm going to file my Social Security.
Right.
And we're saying, go ahead. But before you do, make sure you can answer the phone and use a VPN. And I use a service called Traveling Mailbox, which is, you know, where I've got a permanent address in the States. I pay $20 a month for it. And I'm not promoting Traveling Mailbox, but that just is what I use. There's other mail forwarding services available.
Yeah. And if you're using an iPhone, make sure you turn the setting off that says block all unrecognized phone numbers. Turn that setting off.
I don't know if that's on my Android or not.
No, it's not.
It's not?
No, it's something on iPhone.
Okay.
And what happens is it's supposed to go to voicemail, but it doesn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't use an iPhone, so I don't know.
Right.
All right, so once you get your Social Security squared away, and once you figure out what the perfect apartment or house might be, and I'm confident that you'll eventually find that. Perfect is a tough word because nothing's really perfect.
Right.
But
perfect for me.
Perfect for you. Do you think you'll make the Philippines your home?
That's the plan.
That's
right?
the plan. Because I've seen you a couple of times where you're kind of like, you look like you were sort of doubting whether this was the right place to go or not.
Yeah, I've been beat up. I've been hit by Mike Tyson's left hook too many times.
Uh-huh.
So I got to see some things change before I can answer that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. All right, so we covered the Social Security dilemma. It's ongoing, and again, like I said, I know I'm repeating myself, but if you guys know of anything, maybe you can let us know. I guess the last ditch thing that you would have to do is just buy a ticket and go home and sit in front of somebody.
Well, I would go to Manila first.
Absolutely.
And see if I could work it out with them.
Okay, I think that's good.
And then if, you know, because I've been basically getting the runaround now. Manila says, well, we turned it back over to America. You go to America. Well, now it's international. Then you call them again and say, oh, no, you got to deal with Manila. So I'm getting the runaround, and it's almost like a stall tactic. So when you call that number, it's almost like a call center. These people really don't have a whole lot of authority, knowledge of anything that they can help you with. They're there to give you information. What they do is, what's your Social Security number? They look up your account and they tell you what's there.
Right.
They really can't help you otherwise.
Right. All right, well, kids, that's it with me and Mike. I appreciate you coming on. Give us
My
an
pleasure.
update. And we'll see you guys in the next video.
Take care, guys.